What's up, everyone? In this video, Sierra and I talk about Albariño. Albarino is a Spanish/Portuguese grape. It's a white wine. It's got the little tilde thing over the end. That's why you say Inho. You know, yeah. Okay. So we're talking Albariño.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about the history, maybe.
So Albarino kind of came about in the 12th century. And it's a theory. I don't know how true this theory is, but it was brought over in the 12th century to Spain from the Burgundian monks. So monks that came from Burgundy in France. Mm-hmm. And they brought species and cuttings of their Albariño to the Galicia region, northwest corner of Spain.
Yep, right, because at the time, I don't know if those borders were exactly drawn like that. So it might be actually originally from Portugal or that Rías Baixas part of Spain.
Yeah.
I don't know. I will tell you that what we do know is that there's a lot more planted in Spain now than there is in Portugal. So
yeah. In Portugal, actually, there's not much single variety Albariños. Mm-hmm. It's really used to make Vinho Verde, which is a type of wine. It's a blend of mostly Albariño with some other white wine varieties.
Yeah, kind of that light, refreshing, good summer wine. For
a little bit of spritziness to it.
Yep. Your family's part Portuguese, right?
Yeah, I'm 50%.
There you go. Right.
That's why it's my favorite wine.
There you go. Yeah. Is it your favorite?
One of them.
One of them. Okay. Yeah. All right. So, so one thing that's worth mentioning too is the kind of the weather patterns of that region of the world. It's pretty wet up there, which is, comparatively to the rest of Spain and even southern Portugal, they're a lot warmer. But that northwest part, right along the ocean, it really gets like 50 inches of rain or something like that a year.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
In Lodi, we get 17 to 19
inches, something like that. Yeah.
Inches.
So this is something completely different.
They have sandier soils there, so it helps to bleed out the rain from the soil and not over vigor the vines and keep, if the water stayed in the soil.
That's super important, yeah.
It would dilute the grapes, cause rot problems. So that sandy soil really helps to them to be able to have 50 inches of rain.
Well, and one of the other things they do to kind of mitigate the rot problem is they have this trellis system they call a pergola. She's laughing because I always like to say the word pergola. It's
pergola.
Pergola. It's just a weird word, but and it's these granite posts, and the vines are trained, and they go up to like 7 feet tall, and it allows the wind to kind of blow right through underneath, and also keep the grapes far from the soil, so they're not getting some of the moisture coming up from the soil and all that kind of stuff.
Also,
and then the wind gets to blow through. Yeah.
So Albarino has thick skin, and it actually is less prone to some rot and botrytis diseases than some other varieties.
Right.
But Rías Baixas is the perfect region for rot. It's misty and damp in the morning, and then it gets a little hotter during the day, and that just causes rot and botrytis problems. Yeah. So it needs a grape that has a thick enough skin, the ability to combat that. Yeah. One of the only grape varieties in this region because of that.
I think it's something like 99% of the grapes in that region are white, and 96% of them are Albariño. So they've definitely taken a shine to this grape and really ridden it for all it's worth, which is fair enough. I mean,
it kind of became known in 1986. It was able to be a DO, which is a classification system. So Rías Baixas became known as a very important region for Albariño.
Yep.
In 1986.
Well said. Yeah, that's important. And it really kind of put it on the map, that whole region, I think, is my understanding. Yeah. And it's in California now, if you look at what we do, we've got somewhere in the neighborhood of 400, and I have a note here, 456 acres of Albarino planted as of 2019. And 4 of those acres are here.
Yeah.
The largest portion is in San Joaquin County, which is the county that we're in. And then there's also Sacramento County, which is also part of the Lodi appellation. And then you've got Yolo County and San Luis Obispo.
Yes.
And so San Luis Obispo and Paso Robles has a lot as well. I think, arguably there's probably a little bit more here, but it's not a competition. I don't know why that would matter. It's just worth mentioning that there's a lot
in Lodi.
In Lodi, and that's coming from where we're from. That's what we can speak about. And we know quite a few wineries that do well with it. And the one that is at the forefront that brought it was Marcus Bokish and his wife Liz. They are the ones that are really the ones that spearheaded
they were from Spain and came over.
Marcus is from Spain,
And they came over to Lodi. And they actually planted Albariño for the first time in 2001 here in Lodi.
Yeah. And so they've been championing that grape for a long time.
Here at Oak Farm, we started making Albariño in 2014.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
we had good luck with it the first time. We got the Best of Show white wine at the California State Fair, the Golden Bear. That was a fun little pat on the back. So,
how is Albariño different than other varieties? How does it compare to a Sauv Blanc or a Chardonnay?
So, in the case of the Sauv Blanc, it doesn't have the greenness. That Sauv Blanc has that sort of herbaceous green grassy thing. It's a little bit more tropical than that. At least the California. Now we're speaking of our Albariño. Your mileage might vary depending on what you get. But and then in the case of if you're comparing it to say Chardonnay is a little bit heavier as far as the way it rests on your tongue. Is my impression of
has more weight to it.
Has more weight to it, or a higher viscosity or whatever. This is not that. It's somewhere in the middle between that and Sauvignon Blanc. I think Sauvignon Blanc is being pretty sharp and crisp, and I think Chardonnay as being a little bit more weighty and all that kind of stuff. This seems like it's kind of somewhere in the middle. Yeah.
And it has it also takes some qualities from, say, a Gewürztraminer, some of those floral characteristics. It really does. And maybe a little bit of that high acidity that you would get in a Riesling or a Pinot Grigio.
Yeah. If you like stuff that has some sort of fruit notes to it too, it's got some little white peach flavors. And so if it sounds appealing to you, it's definitely worth giving it a shot. It's not to say that they're all going to taste like that. It's just, we've seen that, be expressed a lot in the grape often. And, it's fairly low alcohol. It's usually around 13%. Yep. We pick the grapes at 21 and a half bricks, usually something in that range.
And when we're picking the grapes, we're really looking at the acidity level as well. We were talking earlier about how it has a high acidity, and that's a characteristic of the grape in general. And so we don't want this grape to taste like a Sour Patch Kid to the consumers, but
you do love Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah, favorite candy. Love to eat that candy, but I don't want my wine tasting like Sour Patch Kids.
Sure, that would be interesting.
We don't want people to be puckering over the high acidity. We want it to be there to give it some of that brightness and kind of help blow the aromas out of the glass. That acidity really helps to bring out the aromas, but we don't want to overpower the wine with this acidity.
Well, now we should also mention, so as far as making it is concerned too, we make it a little bit different than some of the other whites that we make. When we bring it in, squeeze that juice out of the grapes in the press, and then we ferment it in a tank. But before it finishes fermenting, we put it into
stainless steel barrel.
Yeah.
Which I've seen a lot of other winemakers use neutral barrels as well.
And that would work just fine too.
But the idea behind that is it's going to increase the juice to lees ratio. So lees are solids that fall to the bottom of a tank or a vessel, anything that the wine's in. It's dead yeast cells, it's manoproteins, it's solids that came from the grape skins and seeds, big compounds, and they fall to the bottom. And if you let the wine sit on them, they get a little bit of those characteristics and help with the mouthfeel and the weight of the palate.
Yeah.
But kind of the differences between Spain and Portugal's Albariños and California Albariños is they have more of that ocean climate, they're going to get more of that
salinity. Yeah. 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 Right.
Salinity, that sea stone, wet rock characteristic. We get a little bit of minerality in ours, but it's definitely on the more tropical, fruity side.
They're definitely different. I like both of them.
I like both styles.
Yeah, for different reasons. But I would say if you compare them side by side, you might almost think they're two different grapes. Yeah. Really, I mean, sometimes when we've done like these kind of little blind taste testings just to kind of compare our stuff to other people's, and it's definitely it's different. It's a different expression. Yeah. But I like both.
So Albarino, the nickname for it is kind of wine of the sea. It pairs with any and every seafood.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, when we've had chefs prepare it and stuff like that, they've definitely done it like with ceviche and things like that, as far as like a wine pairing. But I mean, like octopus and oysters,
fish
mussels.
Has a little bit of that high salty, kind of that saltiness from the ocean. I think that it kind of goes with all ocean animals, all ocean water seafood, because it has some of that salt water characteristic to it. And that saltiness with the acidity of the wine just helps that pairing out.
That makes sense. Yeah. I mean, it's been done for, hundreds and hundreds of years. So, it's a proven track record that those two pair well together. So,
but I would encourage all of you guys, if you've never tasted an Albarino before, you don't even have to come to Oak Farm and try ours. Go to a wine shop, go to a grocery store, try an Albarino.
Yeah, give it a shot.
It's definitely still up and coming in California, but I think that everyone would enjoy an Albarino.
Yeah. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you soon. All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.